Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Maya, and in today's video, it's another important one. I am going to be addressing more so about the topic of sex, because sex is something that isn't talked about enough. It's actually, you know what, it is talked about a lot, but not in the truth of what it is. It's talked about in order to feed off of your own weakness, because sex is pleasurable. We as human beings seek pleasure in sometimes, actually most of the time in today's society, the most unhealthiest things. And that's using our bodies as a very instrument to allow us to produce unhealthy circumstances in our lives. That keeps us behind in life, that creates havoc, that creates toxicity. And sexual energy is a way that we as human beings are being manipulated in a modern day society. And when you awaken to this, you guys, you really get to understand what's happening. You get a sense of clarity, and you also get to feel empowered by waking up to the disempowerment that is everywhere, labeled as empowerment. And I won't have it. So this is why I talk about sex so much. I talk about sex because sex is a beautiful, beautiful gift from God. Sex is something that should be taken seriously. And I say seriously because a lot of people, it's just sex. We're in our 20s, or we're young. We can go have sex with whatever we want. It's a part of finding, the right person. It's just opening your legs and penetrating all these women. And there's no repercussions, Maya, because I feel good when I do it. Yeah, of course you're gonna feel some pleasure, but what's the after effects like for you? Have you solidified a great healthy relationship yet? Is your energy centers being depleted almost every day for your constant need to chase a pleasure? What's your self-concept like? Do you hold shame around sex? Do you hold shame around masturbation? Are you trying to fill a void with the very act of your own power? That is actually which is actually just allowing yourself to feel disempowered by the very power that you're allowing your thoughts to produce a disempowering state through the act of knowing that you're disempowered in a thought stream that is no longer serving you. And the blame should always be put back onto ourselves. What are you participating in every day? Why do you feel the need to have sex with people you don't know? Why do you want to be all freak nasty in the bedroom to prove to someone that you're worthy? We see it all the time in this culture. She a freak in the bedroom. She's freaky. Men are freaky. Yeah, that's actually not freaky nowadays. That's actually quite normal. It's quite basic that people are more comfortable exposing their bodies instead of their insecurities, their voids, their trauma, their triggers. They'd rather just get naked. And the reality is just, we as human beings use one another as masturbation tools. And that's not sexy. And the fact that that is normal in today's society saddens me. It saddens me that we don't teach our children upon the very act of sex, setting our children up to succeed within healthy relationships. But no, people are too scared to talk about penetration. People are too scared to talk about masturbation. People are too scared to address what needs to be addressed. And why is it uncomfortable? It's so uncomfortable, you guys, that we're allowing the media to take control of what our children get to learn about sex through music videos, music songs, programming our children, porn sites, movies, all these things that are allowing us to view sex in not a sacred lens. It's not sacred what's happening. We're making our men weak by over-sexualizing women, and then we're allowing women to feel empowered by exposing their bodies for male validation, which is just continuing a pattern and a cycle that is allowing men and women to feel empowered in the energetics internally of disempowerment. So they always need to seek outside stimuli to validate them. And this isn't healthy, because truthfully, you guys, if you can retain your sexual energy for a period of time, you will adjust your energy centers into one that is of high calibration. And when you vibrate at high calibration, the even thought of allowing a stranger inside of your body is terrifying. Is so terrifying. Just because you have actually value over yourself, you have self-worth. You don't need another person to stimulate you. You've stimulated yourself by learning about yourself, by loving yourself, by valuing yourself. You won't ever need to depend on another person. And in today's society, people are using sex as a band-aid. People are using sex to get off, to fill voids that are just allowing our human beings on this planet to suffer, and they're questioning why they're suffering, because a lot of people aren't tracing it back to their sexual energy, which is their life force energy, which is their creator energy, which is healing energy, all in the same energy vortex within the body center: healing, creative, and sexual. And when all of these are not working in harmony with one another, you are depleted. You are depleted, and you don't even have enough healing energy, creative energy, and sexual energy to calibrate you into a high frequency being, which doesn't allow you to see this world through a lens of high frequency. It allows you to be a magnet to lower calibrational things, because that is what you're solidifying in your body every time you use masturbation or sex. You are actually manifesting into your reality the very voids you're trying to be filled by another person. They're just going to be magnified within your reality more for you to be awakened to, for you to be aware of. But it's too scary to be aware of why we're needing to feel pleasure instead of finding pleasure within, because it's normalized that the pleasure's not within you, baby. You always got to be chasing. You always got to, you're just fueling the most toxic society ever when you participate in things that make you feel like shit and you know better. But you're arrogant and you're ignorant to it. You're arrogant and ignorant to your own power. And you're arrogant to not believing that you are worthy of actually experiencing a cosmic orgasm. And a cosmic orgasm happens when you have touched into the cosmos within your cells, within your being. You are infinite, and there's infinite potentials that you can be aligning to within your sexual energetic fields that will actually allow you to bring forth healthy sex. A lot of people don't have healthy sex. A lot of people, women are performing for men, and men are using women just for masturbation tools to avoid themselves, when they have better things to be doing than planting their vital life force energy into women. And women have way more better things to do than open their legs to men who are not deserving to experience a woman. And I'm sorry, that might be harsh, but women don't value themselves in today's society. And men have no drive, no more life force to give. So you guys just benefit off of one another's greatest weakness within. Why don't you take a step back? Why don't you retain your sexual energy and not allow this society to control you? Is it a hard thing to do? I don't know why it should be a hard thing to do. People are just so scared to be by themselves in totality. Even the thought of keeping your sexual energy inside without having to give it to another scares people. Why? I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather not participate in sex with another human being until I fully know their soul, until I fully know who they are, until I can see them and value them as a person instead of just valuing what they're giving me and what I'm gaining off of a person. Because what I'm gaining and what I'm giving is not actually healthy. It's toxic. It's toxic because it's not coming from a heart-centered, God-centered place that would never align you to people to expose your body that doesn't appreciate your very body, doesn't appreciate what's within your body. And it's sad and it's sick, and I don't like it. Because I'll be honest, y'all, sex ain't shit without a real connection. without a soul bond, and a soul bond isn't formed in the bedroom by you opening your legs and by you penetrating a woman. That's not how your souls bond. Your souls bond by actually looking one another in the eyes, seeing past the human vessel that we're both in, by connecting through breath, through love, through communication, through intimacy that is not formed just by having sex. Intimacy isn't sex. Intimacy is exposing the very things you're the most fearful to show another person. And when another person can hold you in your depth, that's where intimacy starts. And that's where we get it wrong. And that's why we don't teach our children this. Why don't we teach our children that? Because it's been so misunderstood, sex, that we're actually just too scared to touch the topic. Because there's so much lies within sex that it's too scary to touch on. And I won't have it. I really won't have it, y'all. We need to bring sacredness back to sex. And that first and foremost comes by viewing ourselves as sacred. And a sacred human being wouldn't need another person. A sacred human being is a soul-fulfilled human who doesn't seek out pleasure, but is the pleasure. Brings forth pleasure upon everything they do, because they actually have higher things to tend to than to feel short-term fulfillment produced by another human that makes them feel like shit after, perhaps. And this is why sex is not something to be shamed. I don't want you guys to think I'm against sex, because sex is really beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing. Life forms there. A lot of other things form in the energetics when you enmesh yourself with another person. But we have to be careful. We have to talk about the reality of it. And yes, it can be triggering. Yes, it can make you maybe question things. But I'm glad if I can make you question the very things you participate in. And if it's actually coming from empowerment, then it's up to you to be that self-investigator upon the reasonings why you do what you do. And why do you think it produces the emotions after the fact of pleasure? Is it a downfall, or do you rise up after? Sex is supposed to rise us up. Sex isn't supposed to diminish us and deplete us, but it will if we're using the very energy channel of disempowerment to fuel the act of sex with another. A lot of men are using a woman's vagina, okay, to jack off inside. And they dump their fears, their frustrations, their insecurities, their lack of motivation into a woman to absorb. And then a lot of women are exchanging their insecurities, their unworthiness, their lack. And when you guys are exchanging those energetics, you guys are making a soul tie that is not going to lift you up. How can it? You guys are tying each other down. Your own weak thoughts, your own weak programming. And you can be walking around sometimes if you always need to participate in corn sites or sleeping around. You're walking around with a lot of ties attached to you that are constantly sucking your energy because you've agreed to it. You've agreed to open your channel to another person to benefit off of, but not their higher self to benefit off of. Their insecurities to feed on your very own energy that you're giving away unknowingly. And that's some scary shit. And no wonder there's so much toxicity among us today. Because people are actually manifesting toxins within their own reality through the very act of needing a void to be filled. And these voids are not being starved. These voids are being fed by another person's energy centers. You guys are giving and taking, but not from the highest light, not from the higher power that will actually just fulfill you just in totality when you can restrain yourself and love yourself. And then when you participate in sex from a fulfilled God-centered place, then you can actually experience God within another person. You won't feel tied down. You won't feel diminished. You won't feel like shit afterwards. You'll be risen. You'll be risen up with another individual. You can have cosmic orgasms that gets you back in touch with the universal energy that is running through both you and another person, you or even just yourself. and you'll actually harmonize with the greater good of your life. You can manifest, you can heal yourself, you can bring forth creation into your life. But you can't do that when you're trying to fill a void from an energy that needs to be starved by you. And that happens, we starve these voids, these insecurities by restraining our sexual energy, by being the self-masters of our mind, gaining self-control over our lives, using the very powerful energy of sex, the sexual energy, to actually allow us to bring forth manifestations of creations of our highest good, our purpose work. We actually will have energy to push past insecurities, to actually do the work instead of being the work. We do the work on ourselves. We benefit off of not another person. We benefit off of overcoming the weakness that is being programmed into human beings in today's society, and we overcome them. We wake up and we start viewing sex as a sacred act, a ceremonial act. Not something you do when you're bored, when you're lonely, or when you're horny. Do something better with that energy. You have better things to do than just to allow another person into your soul. Your soul probably don't even want it. It's just your short-term voids that are really hungry. Feed them your damn self. Feed them your damn self. So then you can actually experience profound sex. Sex that will bring forth high energetics. Sex that will not diminish you or make you feel like you have a tie that is tying you down instead of a tie that allows you to go up. It's up to you. Be real with yourself. Don't use another person to get off to. We should be getting off to overcoming who we are in this here and now moment. By overcoming the need for a pleasure to control us. I don't think so. Gain control over your mind. Gain control over your urges. If you really want a healthy relationship, like I think we as human beings have been missing, you have to become a healthy person to attract a healthy person into your life. If you keep on attracting toxicity, where are you sleeping around with a bunch of people? Why are you participating in porn sites that are toxic? You're manifesting toxicity within your life using the very profound sexual energy. And that sexual energy can be used to heal yourself instead of give forth life to a thought stream that is just being solidified over and over again. So wake up. I want y'all to be experiencing the most magical sex of your life with honestly one person. Because that's actually where true magic happens. When you can form a true bond to another person, to their infinite, and then you guys can create another infinity within your container. And that is profound. That is love. That is deep. That is not shallow. So that's my spiel for today, y'all, about sex again. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shaming sex. What I'm doing is bringing forth light onto the dark that is being put onto the very act of sex. And it's sacred. The next time you have sex, have it with someone you love. Have it with someone that has seen maybe your trauma, your triggers, your hurts. See if they accept you in that. And if they can't accept you in that, why would you want to open yourself to them? It don't make sense. So you guys, I went in again on sexual energy again. And this is something I'm very passionate about. And I'm just so grateful that I can bring my light onto this subject. And I say this out of love and just true integrity of my knowingness of how profound sexual energy is and what it can be used for to the highest good of you, your life, your future, and giving back your very own high energy to then lift yourself out of whatever it is that is controlling you by the very act of restraining your very life force energy and using it to be the dominant force upon your life to bring you to magical places. So I love you guys. I bless you. And I hope you guys liked today's video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.